bunches, totally the coolest ever. This is what I make every week right now. Hey, flower friends, it is your friend in flowers, Lisa. And what do you think about this? Super cute, right? These are our rooster peppers, and this is what I make with my Flower Farmer Club on our sewing circle currently, trying to get enough of these made for my Christmas gifts. So friends, welcome. Can you move the notes back to the top?
Oh, sure.
So welcome to the show today. Let me tell you what we're going to be talking about. Why and how you can bend the rules for late fall plantings of cool flowers. Perhaps it's not too late. And then we're going to do some seed starting with some soil blocking demonstrations, see what's blooming at the farm still. Susie Q is going to be doing the Bouquet studio. We, of course, are going to have our prize drawing for those in-app viewers who are watching live. And yes, guess what, y'all? Guess what's available for the first time this year? Our seed grab bags, and they're amazing. We'll talk about them later. And then at the end of the show, I will do a little live Q&A so you can submit your questions throughout this live event, and just put @Lisa in the comments and then type whatever your question is, and we'll pick a few of those to answer at the end. Now, friends, we absolutely want to thank you for sharing and telling your friends about the live gardening show. And you can share it by down at the bottom of your screen. There's a little arrow, and you can hit that and invite your friends and say, hey, I'm watching this live gardening show. Come over and join me. And we appreciate so much when you do that. So remember, when you go to check out, please double and triple check that your email address and your phone number are accurate, because we get typos and we can't ship without an accurate address and phone number. And remember that here inside the app, seed-only packet orders ship for free. We pay the shipping when we're shipping packets only, and product shipping has a cap at $11.95. It does not matter how many items you purchase, you just pay $11.95. And remember, we ship to all 50 of the United States with no international shipping available. Now, friend, if you just happen upon us by scrolling through social media, I want you to know that we have a free phone app. And the reason that you want to be in the app is it just heightens your experience so much. For instance, you'll be able to enter the drawing that I'm going to tell about in just a minute here. I give away something really good every single week, y'all. But you have to be in the app. We can't see you when you're on social media. We can't communicate with you. You can submit questions for the Q&A. You can watch replays of previous shows. And it's just a whole lot funner inside the app. To get the app, simply go to your phone's app store, search Gardener's Workshop, and then download my free shop app. We actually have two. The shop app is what you actually want, and that's where you'll find me. So go do that. It won't take you but a minute, and we'll be right here waiting for you when you come back in. Now, typically, we sell out of stuff during the live show. So if you go to an item and it says out of stock, get on the wait list or get notified. You might want to do that, because frequently the team is bringing over more stock from the big website, and our deals of the day today will likely have that problem. I'm just telling you that now. And so, friends, also see the sunflower. It's part of our logo. And when you see people posting that sunflower emoji in the comments, that's them throwing us love balls, y'all. Those are our people. That's our family. And those are our online course students and my members of my members only Flower Farmer Club. And we just love it when that happens, and it just makes us all feel so good. So remember that giveaway? Here it is. This week, I'm giving away a $25 store credit to one lucky in-app viewer. And so hit the button now, and that'll put you on the list that we select the winner from at the end of the show. And you have to be here to actually claim it, right? So do that. And it's just so fun to start your little shopping with a $25 credit in your cart, right? So so good luck to everybody on winning that this week, right? All right, so let's start. We always like to start off with my books. These are just great resources to really going into winter, to really bear down and learn more. This is the Cut Flower Handbook. It features 66 different flowers. I carry you through how to treat a cutting garden, how to set it up, what to grow, when to cut it, how to condition it. If you want to grow cut flowers and you know nothing about cut flowers, this is the book. You also get a PDF download when you buy the book from us that includes 6 additional flowers that we just could not fit in the book. So I would love to sign a copy for you. And the Cut Flower Handbook is really can take you to the next level with growing a cutting garden. Now, Vegetables Love Flowers is not about growing vegetables, y'all. It is about why vegetables benefit from flowers, being in their presence. And it's so easy to do that by dropping a little cutting garden in the midst of your vegetable patch. And this book shows you how to do that, as well as it shares my gardening philosophies. And so there's a lot of great information in here beyond just growing flowers. So the Vegetables Love Flowers also includes a bonus, and you get a video book study with this one. I interviewed the photographer and my sister, and it's a lot of fun. So Vegetables Love Flowers is really a great one, especially if you have a vegetable grower in your family. They're not sure why they would grow flowers in there. That's the book. And then, of course, we have the book that started it all, Cool Flowers. And so this introduces you to the concept of growing cool season hardy annuals. And it's a simple read, y'all. It's only 160 pages long. And this book also comes with a video book study, the very first one I ever did. And this will really help you to realize there's a whole group of flowers out there you're missing out on. So Cool Flowers would love to sign one of those for you. So let's talk about the tip of the day. Why start Cool Flowers this late? Well, first off, let's talk about what the rule is, right? What is late? So ideally, when we're looking to plant cool flowers in the fall, you actually, your planting target date of the planting the transplants is actually 6 to 8 weeks before your first fall frost. And then you would start the transplants 4 to 6 weeks before that date, right? Well, why would I want to bend those rules? Well, we have all kinds of reasons, y'all. First off, you forgot to start on time. That's a common one. Or you just found a new seed of a cool flower you've never grown that you want to try. And then sometimes it's just because you have a failure starting seeds. You did start on time, but they didn't do well for whatever reason. Or, well, like what I call, you might just want to have insurance seedlings. Those are when you're counting on that something may happen, but you're going to have plants to back that up, right? So let's talk about how you can bend this rule. And so I want to mention that this really only works for transplants. Direct seeding late outdoors doesn't really work if there's not enough warmth to actually get them to germinate for the rest of the story, right? So you are only fall planting those cool season hardy annuals that are winter hardy in your garden, right? That'll survive your winter's lowest temperature, and your ground is not frozen yet, right? And so this is what I would do. If I was going to do it, I would say start the seeds ASAP, immediately. That's the first thing, is get the seeds going. Then tackle getting your bed prepped. If it's not already done, we just made one. We made the bed. We installed the Bio 360 with the black side up, which just benefits a little bit from the solarization. And then we would put, and we put hoops and row cover out, because you're going to need to concentrate and make the most out of the sunshine that you actually can. Now, you're going to transplant those seeds you're starting when they're about 3 to 5 inches tall. And because you're kind of starting late, you need to pay a little special attention. Maybe I would plant them when they were 3 inches. You better believe that I'd probably look at them every day, which I normally wouldn't do that, and I'd probably water them more frequently just to give them the boost they need to get better rooted in. All right, so definitely hoop and row cover. Not only does that just create, I mean, you almost get a 4-week backup from that, right? And that's because of blocking the wind. It's not that it's insulating it so much and keeping it warm. It's blocking the wind and concentrating the sunshine. And it also keeps the pests out, like squirrels, rabbits, deers, golden retrievers, and any other pests you might come up against. And I would say that you're probably going to leave the row cover up and only take it down if the temperatures really climb outside, just to give this late planting that extra protection it needs. And so keep good notes. You know, you'll want to refer back to those, like when did you actually end up planting and what was the weather like? All of those things will help you decide next year if you are going to do that again. And that brings me to our first product, and that is, y'all, the big calendar journal. Where are you going to make these very important notes? On your big calendar journal. So this is a proof from the printer. It's not bound. These are individual pages that we've clipped together, and this is actually the cover, which highlights what's inside the calendar, and Suzanne's going to turn it over. And so you may, if you've read any of my books, you know, I've talked about the big calendar for decades, and that was just a big calendar. Now, this big calendar includes my steps that I follow for 9 different planting windows. And so all of that is on here, all the instruction you need to figure out. And then this is what a sample page, this is 1 month, this is January. And look how big the squares are. Y'all, this book, this calendar, like allows you to truly write on it and write, you know, do your planning for your seed starting and your planting windows, and then also to add your notes like what we're talking about right now. When you pre-order the calendar, that gets you an invitation to attend my live workshop of filling that out for the planting windows. So I don't want you to miss out on it. And also there's a QR code that takes you to my seed starting worksheet, because once we go through the planting times, figuring it out for your garden, you're gonna sit down with this and that calendar and be able to make all of your seed starting. And so it's $39.95 plus $11.95 shipping. And friends, get in on the pre-order now. And we are looking at a late November, early December ship date, and plenty of time to get all your planning done. And I just hope to see you in that live workshop.
Penny said she's excited for her early Christmas present.
Oh, so, okay, we're counting them as early Christmas presents now. That's pretty dadgum awesome. That's a great idea. So I want to show you my favorite way to actually start my seedlings that just really gives them such a great start. And that, of course, is soil blocking. And so let me show you first. Here are some of our seedlings. This is feverfew. This is the perfect size to be planted out in the garden, y'all. There's 40 plants on this little 5x8 tray. Is that not amazing? 40 plants on this tiny little tray. And so let's take a look at how we actually make those. So, Suzanne will fix the camera. This is the blocker, and this is the original from England. We still import them from there, Ladbroke brand. And I am pushing it down a couple of times into the moistened ready-made mix, which you'll see here in a moment. This is a potato masher, y'all. This is what I use to strike off the bottom as well as to mix the water in with the mix. And I use
If you're having trouble seeing, there's a little hide comment button right at the bottom of the comments, and you'll move them right out of your way.
So we use trays with no drainage holes and no ridges to trap water. And you just place the blocker on the tray, give it a squeeze, and y'all, just that quick. Look at that. We just made 20 little containers. This is the size that I use almost exclusively. I'll tell you when I show you the bigger one when I use that, but this is what I start almost all of my seeds in. Now, let me show you how the bigger one works. So this is the 2-inch blocker, and I use the 2-inch blocker when the seed will not fit into the 3/4-inch blocker. And you're gonna see it takes a lot more soil and more space. So there's definitely a time and a place to use this one, but it's not as much as it's not nearly as much as I use for the small blocker. And I scrape off the excess. And here again is another flat tray. You place it on the tray and give it a squeeze. And y'all, just that quick, we just made 4 2-inch block containers. So what would I plant in these? We plant our sweet peas in them. We plant squash, zucchini, sunflowers, but everything else I start goes into the small block pretty much. And so let's take a look at how you can purchase these. So the soil blockers come in a lot of different ways. You can buy them in everything individually, but we have some sets that we have put together. So we have the 2-inch, this is what they look like clean, y'all. This is the 2-inch blocker and the 3/4-inch small blocker, plus the inserts. You would put, it comes with these white nipples to make a dimple to receive a seed. You can pop those out, pop these in, and that makes the perfect size hole to pot up a small block into a large block. And I only do that with 3 or 4 different things: eucalyptus, tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant. And it grows amazing transplants. So that's when I use those. So you get the large and the small and the inserts for $87.16 plus $11.95 shipping, and you are set to start any size seed. Now, the blocking mix, we always have the recipe available for you to make your own at home, but we also sell the ready-made mix. This is a 6-quart bag that makes 500 to 600 of the small 3/4-inch block, or side note, 500 to 600 small blockers. Guess how many big blocks it makes? 30. Do you see why I have learned to use the small block to start almost all my seeds? It's just so space and soil savvy, right? This bag is $15.95 and will get you started. I mean, if you get this in the set, you can make 500 to 600 of the small blocks, right? So that is the soil block maker. Now, this is the sieve. We recommend sifting no matter what you start seeds with, whether it's that ready-made mix, ingredients to make your own. You want really nice, fine soil. This fits perfectly on top of a 5-gallon bucket. You pour what you're gonna sift in there and you rub it, and it just keeps the chunks. Now, people are often surprised by how many chunks are in our ready-made mix, but friends, that's the biology. That's where all, excuse me, that's where all the microbes and all the good stuff lives in the soil. Don't throw that stuff away. Put it in your containers or in your garden, but you want the fine stuff for your seed starting. And so the sifter is $24.95, and this is perhaps the best tool I have on this farm for getting a job done besides my hoe. All right, next up is I told you that we use flat bottom trays with no drainage holes, and we have several different sizes of the reusable foam trays. This is a 5 1/4-inch square. A 5-pack is $1.95. All of these come in 25 packs. This is the small that holds 2 sets of 20 or 2 sets of 4, is $2.95. And then this is the large, which will hold 3 sets of 20, and it's $3.95. And we just wash them up and use them over and over and over again, y'all. So the foam trays are really, really helpful. Now, this is the tool that so many people don't understand why they need it, but it is the key to why they struggle with seed starting, and that is a seedling heat mat. So the seedling heat mat, most seeds germinate best at 75 to 85 degrees soil temperature. If your house is 70 degrees, that means your soil or a glass of water, any mass of something, is 15 to 20 degrees cooler than your air temperature. So that means your soil is 50 to 55 degrees. Friends, that's why seeds don't sprout. The seedling heat mat has a built-in thermostat. You place your trays on the heat mat, it warms the soil, that tells the seed to wake up and sprout, speeds the whole process. This is $39.95 and it will change your seed starting life.
Do you want to hear a funny comment?
Funny comment coming.
Cherise, I sent my husband a very specific holiday list. It's 80% TGW items. I better see that soil blocker under my tree.
Did y'all hear that? So we have people sending their Christmas list to their significant other, and she's looking for a soil blocker under her Christmas tree. And I totally get it. I mean, why not get all the stuff you want and need, right? All right, here's another great piece of our seed starting. This is wide weave burlap. It actually comes like in a big 3-foot piece, but you can cut it to any size. We lay this on top of our soil blocks to trap the moisture, but it allows air to penetrate. We don't use plastic domes, nothing wrong with those. It's just super easy to induce disease and fungus like dampening off. You need very close monitoring. So the burlap comes in a 3-foot piece. You can lay it as a big piece or you can cut it to fit on your trays. I take it off in the morning, water, put it back and remove it as the seeds begin to crack, because you don't want your seeds to pop through one of the hole, your seedling to pop through a hole, because then you'll rip them out the next day.
Somebody asked how long do they stay on the heat mat?
The trays stay on the heat mat. Can I have, oh, here's my water. Sorry, y'all. Stand by. The trays stay on the heat mat until you see signs of life from 50% of the seeds in the tray. Like it's cracking, that's considered germination. Once 50% are doing that, you take it off the heat and put them under a grow light, okay? So, anybody else had a fungus gnat breakout? This is a monitoring tool. This is a yellow sticky trap. It's actually stuck to one of our seed packets. But this is what we use to monitor and capture adult fungus gnats and other flying insects in our building. And so fungus gnats are those little teeny gnats, people sometimes call them fruit gnats, that fly around and are just the worst to deal with. So you need to tackle it from 2 points. One is to lay or hang the yellow sticky traps to trap the adults that are laying the eggs, and we only use these indoors. We would never use them outdoors where they can trap things we don't want to trap. That traps the adults. And then we put these bits in the watering can on Wednesdays to actually water with, and that it takes care of any of the developing larvae that live in moist soil. So the fungus gnat fighting kit is $23.65. You can buy them separately. Prevent fungus gnats, y'all, by doing this every single week. If you get an outbreak, it takes months to get it back under control. So the day I start seed starting in January, we start doing this, and every time we water on a Wednesday, we have this in the actual watering can. All right, so here is the Neptune seaweed fish fertilizer that I put into my watering can. So on Mondays in my watering can, this gets put 1 tablespoon to a gallon, and I just do my regular watering chores, except I don't water the heat mat stuff with this. They just get straight water till they get under a grow light. You can use this out in your garden on the soil, and you can also sprinkle it on the leaves in the garden as a foliar spray. This is 18 ounces. It's $18.95, and it's once a week, and just grows great plants because it makes your soil so healthy. And another thing that I do to make my soil even healthier and more alive is our compost tea bags. Y'all, these are literally like little fat Lipton tea bags. So on Fridays, when I remember, I try to do it twice a month. When I finish watering on Thursday, I fill my watering can back up and I drop this into my gallon watering can so it steeps overnight. Then the next morning, I water with that water, and it just adds so much healthy biology to our soil. So this comes in a 12-pack, and you can use it as frequent as you'd like. We do it every 1 to 2 weeks. It's $18.95, and then once you're done with these little baggies, just add them to your containers or to your soil mix. And so this are the compost tea bags. Friends, ding, 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 deal of the day coming up. And this is it, y'all. This is our Japanese grass weeders. We have used these for over 25 years. Best tool ever. This is the left-hand model. This is the right-hand model. And these hose work just like the stand-up hose that I've demonstrated for you. When a hoe blade works properly, being flat on the ground, sunk down just a little bit, and pulled uniformly across the soil, that not only does not bring up fresh weed seeds, but it takes care of everything developing in the surface. But what do most people do with this? They hold it like this and scrape the soil and make piles of soil. Not only does that make more work, but you're exposing more weed seeds. We love this hand tool. Everybody around here has one. We use it to draw the trough to plant our seeds in. It's been a #1 seller, and it's just our very favorite tool. It's got a sharp point. It's an excellent Christmas gift. I'll tell you, every year, no matter what we buy, we sell out 2 weeks before Christmas. It's $29.95 regularly, y'all. It is 20% off until 8 a.m. Sunday Eastern Time in the app only, or until supplies are not available. That makes it $23.96. This is something anybody that has a yard will love it.
And it might even fit in a stocking.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right. Floating row cover, especially if you're planting and pushing the envelope around here, you have to be ready with the floating row cover. So it's 83 inches wide. I use it, we use the lightest weight, which allows the maximum amount of light penetration, because we do not use it to protect from cold so much. I only plant those plants that will survive winter in my winters, right? Here, we love row cover because it blocks the wind and concentrates the sun underneath of it, and it keeps deer, rabbits, and squirrels and golden retrievers from getting into my beds. Now, it's available in a 20-foot piece for $12.95, a 50-footer for $26.95, and even 100-footers for $42.95. And we have even longer pieces available over on our big website. Row cover, this is one of those things, you don't wait until cold's on your forecast to order it. You need to get row cover and have it ready and waiting. So how do we hold row cover down? We use anchor bags. And so this is what they look like. That's what they look like filled. And this is what I love about them. We leave them out in the garden standing up like this, so you don't have to bend all the way over to pick them up. This one is full of gravel. We tend to use gravel here, but you can use sand or soil. You want it to weigh about 15 pounds. When they have that much weight and you place them in the right places, 3 on each end and 1 at the foot of every hoop. And if you need hoops, you can find those over on our big website. But these hold down our silage tarps, our insect netting, and our floating row covers, and they do not rip them when you install them properly. So the anchor bags are 10 bags for $10.95, 30 bags for $29.57, or 60 bags for $52.56, and I will tell you, you will never have enough bags. Once you start learning how to use row cover, insect netting, and silage tarps, you will need more bags. All right. Ugh. I know, it's like we're getting old, right, sister? All right, ding, ding, ding. We need a bell or something to ring for the deal of the day. You know that? We need something that just hangs right up here. All right, friends, I've been talking about this Hori Hori. So this is like one of the favorite tools around here. It's Suzanne's and Lynn's, both team members here. It's a super heavy duty garden knife. So many uses. I use it to plant, stab, pull back, drop a plant or a bulb in, then push back. And it comes with this little holster and a belt loop. It is on sale from $46.95 to $37.56. And again, this is just like the hose until Sunday at 8 a.m. or until supplies run out. If you have any males in your family or in your life, they love this thing, but it is a great garden tool to have. Totally love the Hori Hori. All right, here is one of Susie's favorites. This is a serrated scoop. Look at the edges of this thing, y'all. Can you see that? You know what this is perfect for this time of the year? Scooping up bunches of little hellebore seedlings and moving the little clusters. I love this thing. So this has got a point. It's got measurements going up it. You can use it for bulb planting, transplanting, so very, very much. And it's just a great little color. It's $25.95, and the serrated scoop is so much better than any trowel. And it's super sturdy, y'all. Love this. All right, now I'm going to show y'all how to root a plant. And first you have to ensure that the plant you want to root is capable of doing that. And I don't have the answer to that, but you can put it in a search engine. We are going to actually make some cuttings of Salvia leucanthia. And so we need, let's see what all we need here. So I am going to actually do these rooted cuttings in our green pot and tray set. So this is these are cell packs, y'all, that'll last you for the rest of your gardening life. These are not disposable. And so we are going to, I guess let's do this, sister. So the way you do a cutting of salvia, actually you don't want the blooms. I just brought those in so y'all can see what they look like. And they're blooming right now. That's the best thing about salvia, this particular one, and it's Salvia leucanthia. And so we're gonna make several stem cuttings here. So what you can usually do is you just cut, I like to have it a little bit longer than that. You just cut right above some leaves, and we're just gonna make a few here. All right. And one thing I have learned through years is that you want your stem to be not woody, but very mature and close to it. You know, new flat, like these little side shoots, you'd say, oh, that should make a great cutting. When they're really fleshy, they don't seem to be the ones that thrive. This is what I'm looking for. A little short, nice, kind of woody stem, but you don't need all those leaves either. I'm gonna cut one whole side off. All you need is one or two little leaves, and let's make another one of those. We'll make two. Here's another good one. So look how easy that is. You just have a stem with a leaf or two. Then I take a pen or a pencil and I just make a hole in the soil because you don't want to scrape the rooting hormone off that we're going to put on. And the way I do this is I dip the stem into some water, and normally, Suzanne, I dump some into the cap, and then that happens. It all comes out. And then you just roll your stem in the powder. See how you got some on there? And then you just stick it down in the soil and give it a squeeze. Now, typically, I would do this in spring or in early, very, very early spring, but I'm always late doing it because they don't grow quick enough for me to get them, see that, actually rooted. So we're gonna attempt, they need warmth and grow light. So to do this, you have to be able to support them inside. I'd put them on a seedling heat mat, just like I do seedlings. I'm giving them a squeeze, keep them moist, and then they will get rooted, and you'll just treat them like a plant throughout the winter. Bright light, right? Heat and moisture, and then you'll have them ready to roll as soon as your last frost passed. But it's perfect on these trays. So these trays that they come with have no drainage holes, which means you can have this inside your home and water anywhere. This set comes with 8 of these little cell packs and 2 trays. So you actually have like 32 plant holes that you can plant up. So that's how, and the rooting hormone. So this is the rooting hormone, which speeds the whole process up. This is $10.95, and the pots are $19.95 for both trays and 8 of these individual cell packs. And that's just really a lot of fun. All right, so one thing you don't want to skip when you're especially doing this kind of stuff, y'all, is to actually not label what you're doing, because I know what that is, but I can promise you what I won't know is when did I do it. So I would use just old masking tape, but I would use our garden marker and put today's date. You know, if you don't know the name, or if you're not familiar, then you put the name. But the garden marker is made to withstand moisture and UV rays. It's $6.95, and you can't have enough of these either, y'all. We have them all over this farm, and they do not vanish. They will be there next year when you're looking for them. And now, one more reminder, where is to hit the button if you want to be on the giveaway list, and that will be a $25 in-app credit. So hit the button now, and we'll be pulling from that. And remember, I'll be doing a Q&A at the end. So if you have questions, put @Lisa in the comments and ask your questions. And now it's time for Susie Q and the Bouquet Studio.
Hey guys, welcome. So glad you can join us today. And I got a couple of things we're going to talk about today. If you've ever seen our Velcro, this Velcro I love to use for Christmas decorating, and of course on social media I saw someone using it differently than I do, so I'm so excited to share that with you. This Velcro is 50 foot long, a ½ an inch wide, and it sticks to itself all over, so you can just stick it anywhere you want. It's just so easy. Now, when we use this out in the garden for tomatoes or staking any kind of plants, we usually cut about a 12-inch piece, and you just wrap it around itself until you're done. And when you go to take it off at the end of the season, it just pulls off. And then we ball it up in a big ball. It's so much fun, and it just comes right off when you want to use it the next season. But for Christmas decorating, I use this to attach the garland to my wooden handrail of my stairs. And I just take little pieces and wrap it around and, you know, have a bunch of pieces cut just like we do for tomatoes. But I saw someone on social media, and she had the greenery garland, you know, like pine. And then she had another garland that was all berries. And she took this, kind of like you do paddle wire, or like Lisa does the wreaths with the flexi wire, and she wrapped it around together like this, took it down, and just kept wrapping it to connect those two together. And I thought, how cool is that? You could hang little Christmas ornaments from it if it was all the way down your garland. And she just went on, and then when she got to the edge, she wanted to hang on her rail. She just wrapped it around the rail and just kept on going. So another use that I had never seen before. It was really cool the way she used it. So this 50-foot roll is $7.95, and you can keep it and reuse it year after year. Perfect stocking stuffer or gift. But there's 1,000 uses. You don't have to use it just for flowers. You can use it for all kind of MacGyver stuff you're going to do out in the yard and in the house. All right, next we have the Stay Put candle grips. So if you've not seen these, if you do any candles during the holiday,
Stress level
yes,
lowered.
we used to put wax in there. We used to take aluminum
Tissue
foil,
paper.
tissue paper, anything to try to get our candles to stay. And this is an 8-pack of candle grips. And it's so easy. Here we have our little candle holder. It's a little grippy sponge is what it is. And you just slip it in there. Excuse my gloves, I'm getting ready to do flowers. So you stick it in there and you just push it down and it stays. And I like to give it the blizzard test. If you've ever gotten a blizzard from Dairy Queen, they always turn it over. So there is the test. It'll stay anywhere you put it. And again, you can keep these and use them over and over year after year. If you have a big candle, you can use 2 or 3 of these around the edge and push it in, and it'll make a big candle stay where you want it as well. Candle grips, $8.95, perfect stocking stuffer.
Oh my gosh.
And gift.
Everybody needs them in their drawer.
Yes, for real. So now we're going to talk about our candle ring vases. And I don't know, any of you were here a week or 2 ago. This guy is headed south, but Susie got this little pumpkin and she cut the middle out and it fits perfectly down in there, and we had a cute little arrangement in it. Well, I have asked her to find a really cool gourd for Thanksgiving. So she's going to be working on finding us a gourd big enough that we can do this. But I thought I would show you how to use it the way it's meant to be used. And that is on
A candle.
all right. So here's our little candle holder. You saw I used my little stay put grip to get it down in there. Let's get this a little leveler. There we go. All right, so this week I thought it would be fun to try some of Lisa's. This is eucalyptus, but the rest of the stuff in here is native honeysuckle. And it's got the coolest little berries on it, and it's on an archway we walk through whenever we come to the farm building, and it just kind of inspired me. I said, I want to put that in a little vase. So on top of that, I thought, how can we make this more Thanksgiving-y? And if you remember, a few weeks ago, we showed the pumpkin gourds, and I put them on these long stakes, and we used them in a flower arrangement. Well, guess what? I'm going to cut it off and try to stick it in my little candle vase. And I've not done this before, so we'll see. But what I did do also is took the pumpkin on a stick and a toothpick. No, it's not an hors d'oeuvre. We're going to stick it also in our little vase. So this is the little candle vase. It's plastic. It comes in a 2-pack. They're $15.95. Perfect gift for yourself or for anyone. Great hostess gift. So you simply slide this over your candle, and now we get to decorate. So I'm going to take some of the greenery here. I brought the eucalyptus because I thought in case it needed some more greening up, we would use that. But look at this precious honeysuckle, and you can go and gather things from your yard. You don't have to have flowers, and I usually try to cut these a little bit longer than I think I need them, because it's better if you kind of tilt them to the side. They tend to stay in better if you tilt them sideways. And we're going to just continue to go around and do that. You can put a few with just greenery on it if you want to add some more greenery.
You know who visits this vine just about every day up until recently? Y'all, is a pack of hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds love this.
Suzanne bought me this native honeysuckle, and it is just beautiful. You know, the honeysuckle that a lot of people have growing around, and it's out in the wild, is the invasive, I think it's Chinese or Japanese honeysuckle, but it like takes your garden over. This is so different, and the blooms are so gorgeous, and the berries.
Stem's not long enough.
And I can actually open my bedroom shades in the morning, and that's what I see. And those little boogers are always there visiting, and they sit on my fence. It's really pretty sweet.
Yeah, we have a couple of videos of them. They're very precious. So I'm doing this with just the honeysuckle and some greenery right now, which would be beautiful by itself, but look at these cool berries.
Yeah, I didn't know they were going to get
Yeah,
those.
they've got these cool berries that come on the honeysuckle as well. And I thought, let's try to use those. So let me cut some of the, we might want to make this stick up a little bit more so that you can see it. This is a little bit too long. And these things are kind of fragile. Once you get them on your table, you're going to have to just, push them back in and make sure that they're set up right. But look how cute those little berries are. Now we're going to try to add a pumpkin. See how this works. And you can push the pumpkin in further. I just took a toothpick and stuck it in. If you want it to go down a little further, you could stick the pumpkin, the toothpick in a little further, or the opposite if you want it to stick up further. And he's top heavy. There we go. Stay. And I even got some pumpkins on a stick that were a little yellow, if you want to add some yellow in there. And then I'm going to try to cut off a gourd and try to get the gourd in there and see how that works. So let's turn this way and put a yellow one over here. See how cute that is? All right, so let's take the gourd and turn away, sister. I'm going to use my clippers to cut this. It's just wood.
It's a stem.
It's just a long stem. So I'm going to try to stick this gourd in here.
How cute is this?
And see how much fun that is?
I have to tell you all the funny story that we heard from a little old lady at one of the shows that we attended years ago. There was this older lady who was way overdressed for a show, right? I mean, a shopping show. No, it wasn't a show. It was what do you call it?
Bazaar, bazaar.
It was Bazaar, but it's a big shopping event. Anyway, how cute is that? Anyway, so here she is in our booth. I mean, she's all dolled up and just looking high class as she was. And I hear her giggling, and she's looking at these candle vases. And I walked over and I said, can I help you? Was find something? And she said, no, I was just reminiscing from my childhood. She said, I was raised in a very formal Victorian home. And one of the things that back when I was a little girl is the priest was often invited to our home for Sunday lunch. And my mom was like so prim and proper, you just can't even imagine. But my daddy would frequently poke fun at her for it. So we have this priest at our dinner table. And my mom, you know, of course, makes flower arrangements, you know, and cook the food and all that. She said, we're sitting down at lunch, and my mom had some of these candle vases. They were the original glass ones, right? And she said, there in the candle rings were little guppies or goldfish swimming in the water that was in the candle vase. And that was her dad that had done that, poking fun. And she said the look on my mom's face was priceless when she saw it. And the priest thought it was pretty humorous himself. But we just learned the most fun things about where stuff came from. You know what I mean? What she had as a little girl is what this was fashioned after. And the candle vases, that is super cute, sister.
Yeah, I think it's really
I think
cute.
you need to really take a picture of that for us to put on the website. That is super cute.
Yep, love it.
Love that.
Perfect gift, 2-pack. Did we already go down from that, Susie? I already said 2-pack is $15.95, and you just keep these forever, and just be sure to check your water level because little fresh flowers sometimes drink a lot of water.
Check it for goldfish too.
That's right.
All right. Next up, y'all, we're going to look at some flowers. But, you know, first, just a little bit about our seeds. Did you know that I am planting from the same seeds that you're planting from? I no longer buy big bulk here for the farm. Literally, Bobo and I make our list of what we're planting and send it up to the warehouse, and they pull it off the same shelves that your seeds come from. And I just love doing that. I feel really connected to you guys for doing that. And so the thing about seeds that I like to share is that you should always purchase flower seeds when you meet the flower. It's most frequently not the proper time to plant that seed, but when you buy the seed, when you get it, you then put it in your seed vault. That's just where you store your seeds, in the cold group or the warm group. That way you don't miss out planting it when time comes. Then if you store it properly, these are our craft desiccants. These absorb moisture. A 2-pack is $2.95 or a 10-pack is $9.95. And store your seeds, keep them cool and dry, and they will last years, y'all. And now I have something to tell you. All right, tell me. So we have brought out our seed grab bags. The seed grab bags are the 2025 seeds that are still left, right? They're still good for years, but we want to move into the 2026 seeds. So we have made some 6-packs. They are 70% off, y'all. So we have a couple of different types of seed packs. You're not going to know what flowers you're getting, y'all. They're in a 6-pack, and we have different ones that you can choose from. There are sunflower seed packs. They're $10.71. Then we also have warm season seeds. Those would be zinnias and celosias and all those things beyond sunflowers. Those are a 6-pack for $8.91. That is 70% off, y'all. And I mean, these are all the seeds. I mean, we don't have any bad seeds, y'all. And then there's a 6-pack of cool season seeds, and it is also $8.91. Now, all of those seed packets are the regular size seed packs, right? That the seed packets will vary. Now we have some jumbo seed pack grab bags. And so we have, and these are the ones that always go first. Get ready to hit the button, y'all. The jumbo sunflower seeds is a 6-pack of the jumbo size for $25.11. That is 70% off the regular price, y'all. And there's nothing wrong with the seeds. Then we have jumbo warm season seed 6-packs for $23.31. And then we also have jumbo cool season seed packs for $23.31. Strike while the iron is hot, y'all. There is nothing wrong with these seeds. It's just that they're victims of the transition is what this is all about.
And they're just randomly selected.
Yeah,
right?
they're just randomly mixed. You'll get a mix of 6 different things. I mean, the sunflowers are all sunflowers. The warm is all warm. The cool is all cool. But it's random with varieties within that. All right, thank y'all. Okay, eucalyptus, y'all. It is time. This is the silver dollar. And this is the first seed I start in January. All of the eucalyptuses. The silver dollar is the big leaf, the most recognized. Then this is just my favorite, y'all. This is the parvula gum, little leaf, darker color, great bouquet filler if you can grow it in volume. It's got like a reddish kind of stem. Totally love that. And then everybody's favorite is the polyanthumus. Good old Pollyann, that's what we call her. Look how cool these big leaves are. Love these guys. And then y'all, our kale is finally coloring up. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. But let me show you. Normally, this would be much more stripped. And I wanted to leave this until for y'all to see how we actually do this. So when you're looking from up above, see, these aren't doing anything for you down here. That's what you're looking for. Let's take this one too. How beautiful are these? So November is the month of the ornamental kale. This is the crane white. Then this is the crane red. Look at that. Look how beautiful. And then this is the, I'm sorry, that was rose. This is rose, and this is red. There's really not a whole lot of difference between rose and red. But look at that deep down in there. It looks almost like a rose. So very, very beautiful. So we started those in the middle of summer, y'all. You'd mark that on your calendar and you'd never miss the date. Now, this is our rooster peppers. These are ones that are getting ready to be used in a dried way. And this is what I'm making. Look what I'm making, y'all. Look at how cute this is. This is a rooster pepper wreath. It takes me less than 10 minutes to make this. It's on a grapevine wreath. That's a 10-inch. And I use our Flexi tie, which you can find it in the app. It's not in the show. It's flexible. It holds a knot. Makes this so quick and easy, y'all. So quick and easy. Absolutely love them. Y'all wait till you see this. Hairy Balls is aging. So even look at those fuzzy ones. Those are ones that have gone to seed. And this is why I like harvesting the balls younger than older, because that does not happen. And then look at this. I made this wreath just like I made the rooster peppers. This is Gumphrina Aldra Rose, and Suzanne has just put it with a candle in a low bowl. How pretty is that, right? How pretty. So many uses for dried flowers. And I just cut these this morning, y'all. Look at these marigolds. This is how I like to cut them, with that green center. That means these will still be around for next week. They're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. And so then our spinning gourd, which that's what this is right here, y'all. That's full size. Aren't they the cutest things ever? They're very prolific. You don't need to plant but one vine, and there they are dried. You can paint them, make ornaments, make all kinds of fun stuff. And then they definitely need a trellis to be on. And then look at our pumpkin on a stick. These are some of the fruit that we took off. These are weeks old. So it's pumpkin on a stick. This is an ornamental eggplant, y'all. High value crop, just like the rooster peppers. They have a hard time getting them. And that's what Susie Q has on the toothpicks here in our little arrangement. There is so much stuff you can do in the fall. You know, I was doing a podcast with Gretel Adams this morning, and she and I were talking about that fall is where the farmer's profit is. That's the money that's like the more you can make in the fall that's the money you get to keep, right? And so there's so much you can do. Now, this is some of our Sunfill purple sunflower buds. This is what we grow them for, y'all. Don't they look like a succulent? We use them as filler. So very, very cool. And we still have sunflowers coming in from the field, y'all. This is the Pro Cut Mix. And has all the colors in here. They're so very, very pretty. They're so pretty. I mean, how many of these could you actually sell this time of the year? And I was able to find, this is one Chantilly left. You know, so again, these are fall blooming. These were not planted for the spring. These were planted in the middle of the summer and for fall blooms, and it worked, y'all. How awesome is that? And then look at this. Now, I never dreamed that this Snapdragon test would work as well as it did, so we didn't net them. I never dreamed they'd get tall. Look at this, y'all. Look how tall they are, and look how, you know why they're crooked? Because they had a torrential rain and it laid them down. But look how tall these would be. These are Opus, and look at this yellow one. I just couldn't leave them out there in the garden. Look at this bloom. Look how beautiful that is. And look how tall he would have been had he been netted. He had a very bad owner, y'all. That's Opus. And another experiment, guess what this is? Stock. Out in the field, it's a quick bloomer. And these are the things that you would definitely be marking up on your calendar to remind you to start them in the dead of summer when it's the last thing you're thinking about. That does smell. It has the stock smell. All right, my sister's pushing me. All right, y'all, it's time to wrap up. Remember to stick around to the very end for the Q&A. And I just want to remind everybody that over at thegardenersworkshop.com, we have so many free resources for you guys to check out. We have videos, blogs. You can connect with both of our podcasts, Field and Garden, which there's an episode highlighted here, A Golden Opportunity, which I think is about leaves, isn't it?
It just came out in the email too.
So that was just sent out to everybody in my email. It's episode number 320, Why I Love Leaves. And they're gold, y'all. They are literally gold. And then also Seed Talk, the other podcast with Lisa and Lane, has a brand new episode that just came out, Eucalyptus Fall Flower Spotlight. It's episode number 138, and it just dropped yesterday. So you can find them both at our website, but also on podcasts wherever you listen to those. Excuse me. This Wednesday, I will be hosting Ask a Flower Farmer, which is on Instagram at 3 o'clock on Wednesdays. And remember to meet me back right here, same day, same time, for next Friday's live shopping show. And friends, we have a winner of our drawing, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to befuddle your name. I may not even say it for the last one. Your first name is Lauren, and your last name is Jauregui. Lauren J., if you are here, give us a shout out to claim your $25 credit in your cart. Congratulations, and thank you so much for participating. So Lauren, let's hear it in the comments if you're here so we can drop it into your cart. All right, here's some good questions. Can the row cover and support netting be cut, or will they fray? Trying to calculate how many I need. I cut row cover and insect netting and support netting. So no, you should not. That's part of that product. You should be fine on those. The edges of the insect netting will roll up a little bit, but you are good to go. For fall preparation of very early spring beds, do I completely finish them out with Bio 360, then cover them with a silage tarp? So, what a great question. So that is exactly right. We prepare our beds in the fall for very early spring planting because typically the ground is too wet and or frozen or covered in snow to actually be able to do that. I'm not sure what got me on that. I think it was the eucalyptus. So whether you cover it with a silage tarp or not depends on your conditions. I don't cover mine because I don't get heavy snow load. But if you think that there's going to be snow that you're going to have to pull a silage tarp back, on a sunny afternoon to try to get rid of or sweep the snow off or shovel the snow off carefully without damaging the bio, by all means, yes, put a silage tarp. But you completely finish the bed so you can literally walk out there with a tray of plants through snow, cold weather, and plug your cool season hardy annuals out in very early spring. In the Marigold Spotlight Seed Talk, you said, and when the new variety came out for just a few years ago, it just kicked me over the edge. Curious to know the variety. You didn't say the name. I would probably say that's probably cocoa, because that just came out a few years ago, and really, really love that. I think that nobody realizes that cut flower marigolds grow chest high. They're huge, and they're just amazing, long-lasting cut flowers. Why are the books not listed alphabetically in your books? Are they in a particular order? Well, if you're talking about the Cut Flower Handbook, first off, the publisher kind of dictates that. But they are in, if you look, it's listed two ways. Like at the beginning of the cool season, here's a list. This list is listed alphabetically by the common name, but in the pages, they are listed alphabetically by the botanical name. And so that's why we give you the key. So yarrow is first. So yes, they are alphabetically by the botanical name in the feature pages, but you can find the common name alphabetically at the beginning of the warm and the cool season. So yeah, but that's not my decision, but that's the way it's available both ways, right? Can I direct sow Love in a Mist and poppies now, or is it too late? I've struggled to clear out my beds because they were still blooming. I totally get it. So first off, 7A, it's all about when your frost date is, and I would guess that your frost date is probably already come and gone. You can try direct sowing late, but here's the problem. Iceland poppies will probably be more successful than Nigella, maybe. There's not enough warmth during the days to actually warm the seeds up enough to let them know it's time to germinate. You can try this, and I've never done it, but I was gonna say you can try it, is to put those seeds in a moist paper towel and put them in a warm spot, maybe not directly on a heat mat, maybe on a cookie cooling rack, and for 7 days or something, and see if they sprout, like a germination test. Then take them out in the garden and plant them. And then I would do two things. I would not only hoop and row cover, I'd put a row cover on the ground underneath that hoop, just to help push them along and buy you extra time. You can try that, but direct seeding late does not always work out very well. That's why next year, on my calendar, one of the tips that I share on the inside back cover of the calendar is my simplistic method of succession planting, and that saves you from what you face there. By planting in blocks, you're going to be ripping out probably your first warm season tender annuals, the first ones you planted, to make way for cool flowers, and you should have two other potentially warm season spots blooming, so you don't feel like you want to keep those, because I know your pain. I've been there before, so I get it. What cool season annuals could I use in a bouquet to take the places of peonies, ranunculus, and anemones? There's not really any. I struggle with focal flowers. Is that what you're kind of thinking about? That's what fueled my fire a decade ago, to learn about early bird sunflowers. And I tell you exactly how to do that on page 204 in the Cut Flower Handbook. about how we push the limits of sunflowers to have some focal flowers. And then we grow them in very specific colors. The whites, the lemons, the peach, not the classic orange sunflower. Scooping hellebore seedlings, please tell us more. So I have a big hellebore patch, which was the top dollar crop on this farm for many years, that grow at the base of a big, huge magnolia where nothing else will grow. And because of the varieties that I grow, which are not the new fancy ones, not the new hybrids, which are sterile, by the way, mine is Hellebores orientalis and Hellebores niger, Niger. And both of those reseed prolifically if they're happy and after they're like 3 years old. And that, because they actually drop seeds each year, but it takes that long for that little seedling to grow up. That's like a year-old seedling. That's why hellebores are so expensive, y'all, because they are so slow. So I have carpets of little baby hellebores. And I just scoop, instead of trying to pick one little plant, I scoop and go deep and pick up a whole cluster. And that's what I transplant somewhere. And then I may or may not thin them, you know, later in life. I'd like to say that I do thin them, but rarely do I go back and look. And they do great. So that's what I use this for. Can I put a heat mat directly on top of furniture, or do I need to put something protective down first? I guess it would really depend on what your furniture is. I've only used it on like Formica, wooden tabletops, and if you're worried about it, I would definitely not probably put it on wood. I mean, a good wood top piece of furniture, or you could put a towel down and that may help.
I'm more worried about the water.
Yeah, and the watering is the problem. You know, like if you spilled or dripped water, that's what I would be thinking about. I'm going to pick one more. Here's a good one. How long does it take for the gourds to dry? So that's a really great question. I've grown a lot of those little mini gourds, and I have perfected the drying stage. And you know what it is? Do not pick those boogers fresh and bring them inside to dry them. Let them dry on the vine outside. Not only do they dry better quality because of the air circulation and they're hanging and all that stuff, it's just a mess inside. They grow mold, they grow all kinds of stuff indoors. You just need to get them off the vine before a hard frost comes. Like we haven't even had that yet. So where is that jar?
Spoon gourds?
Gorge. Oh, here they are. And so here's just a classic. So this is one that dried inside. You know what that black is, which is so super cool? That's all mold, that the moisture came out from inside. That doesn't always happen, right? Look at these. So these were fresh a couple weeks ago. This is one that dried outdoors. I mean, less scrub. You have to clean the ones you bring in. And that is the biggest pain in the neck. It doesn't sound like much work until you're staring at 100 of them that need to be done. This is one that dried hanging outside. So I say leave them, because we paint them and make all kinds of stuff, but you had to clean all that mess off of it, you know? So it's just easier and less work to actually do that. So my friends, we're gonna wrap it up. Let's see, what am I doing? I'm working on so many new projects, y'all. I can't even keep it straight, but we'll be telling y'all all about them here in the near future. And so we're preparing for frost here. Friends, it's time to start thinking of how you're gonna spend your winter. Get on the pre-order list for the calendar, because I want you in my live class to go through the calendar. And friends, until we meet again, ciao.